You ever have one of those days where you pay for first class, dress for respect, mind your business, and then someone comes along and tries to tell you politely, of course, that your seat would be more useful to someone else? No explanation, no apology, just a tight little smile like you should be grateful for the opportunity to make things more comfortable for a family who booked late. That's what she said to the man in the Navy suit, barely 55, quiet, measured, the kind of guy who doesn't need to show off. And just like that, right in front of every Anino, she didn't ask the guy in 2C, didn't ask the couple in 1A and 1B, just him. That's how it starts, sometimes. Small things, wrapped in courtesy, but everyone in the cabin saw Itzum pretending they didn't. But the thing is, you never know who you're talking to. That's the part they never see coming. 15 minutes later, that plane hadn't moved an inch. Because that man Elias Moorhay didn't just fly. He made one quiet call, didn't raise his voice, and suddenly the whole flight crew was stuck on the ground, all those tight smiles melting right off their faces. You ever see power that doesn't need a shout? Yeah, that happened. And if you've ever been asked to make space for someone less deserving, just because, then buckle up, this story's for you. Let me back up a sec. It was just another Tuesday at the airport, Atlanta-bound flight 263, gate C7. Elias Moore always arrived early, not out of fear, out of respect time, space himself. He carried that respect in the way he moved, one steady step at a time, briefcase in hand, shoulders set like a man who owns his spot. The gate agent fresh out of college, by the look of her, scanned his ticket and smiled. Enjoy your flight, mister. Moore, with no clue who she was talking to. Down the jet bridge, familiar hollow footsteps, credit card ads on the walls, a crew of 3 at the front, 2 chatting, 1 fussing with bins. He nodded hello, got a half-hearted reply. He took 2, a first-class window, no show, just sat down, folder open, calm, present. Next to him, some white guy in his 30s, cap pulled low, big bag, didn't even nod. The kind of silence you learn to live with, especially up here. Boarding dragged on. Flight attendant with the bottle blonde bob passed out, water skipped Elias like he wasn't there, moved on. Not the first time. Not worth a scene. Not yet. A family stumbled, Ina woman in her 40s, 2 restless kids, husband with a face like defeat and too many snacks. Coach, row 17. But she paused at first class, whispered something to the attendant, nodded toward Elias's seat. Didn't take long. That same attendant, voice all honey and static, sidled up. Excuse me, sir, would you mind switching seats so this family can sit together up front? The words were all wrong, soft but sharp, like sugar dusted over a slab. You know what I mean? He looked at her, measured. Are you asking anyone else? Or just me? She faltered, smile slipping. Well, you're alone. They're a family. Was I picked because I'm alone? Or because I don't fit your picture of first class? Her face changed just a little. We don't mean any discomfort. You already have. She tried again, voice tighter now, like she wasn't used to hearing no. But that's what he gave her, no. Simple, factual, steady. He went back to his folder. Around him, whispers rose and fell. A little storm brewing in row 17. They asked, they insisted, but he stayed. For minutes later, the tension had thickened like bad soup. Then here comes the supervisor, older, clipboard, silver at the temple's authority, on 2 legs. Sir, we're asking you to cooperate so we can make the flight pleasant for all our guests. I paid for this seat. I followed your rules. If following protocol is disruptive, maybe the protocol's the problem. The supervisor gave a little laugh, but you could hear the warning under it, let's not make this harder. That's the point where most people cave. But Elias didn't. The threat came next. If you're unwilling, we may need you to step off until this is resolved. No heat, just a fact. And that's when Elias reached into his jacket, dialed a number. The other end picked up on the first ring. Delay the flight. That's all he said. And everything shifted. The supervisor stiffened. Passengers started checking watches, phones, flight apps, waiting for bags, for movement, for something to happen. Nothing did. 11 minutes after scheduled takeoff, ground control came over the intercom. Procedural delay, no timeline. Row 3 started whispering. Row 6, row 9. A kid too loud in the back. Are we stuck? Now everybody was watching. The family that started it all shrank into their seats. The flight attendant frozen, face pale. Then, a black SUV pulled up on the tarmac. Inside, two airline execs, serious as a funeral, walked on board. Crew members were quietly said no drama, but everyone noticed. The new lead attendant, a woman with silver braids, approached Elias with real respect. "Mr. Moore, you're welcome to wait in the executive lounge or remain here. Anything you need." "I need this seat to matter," he replied, and she just nodded, understanding it in her bones. The flight finally took off, nearly an hour late, and this time the silence was different. It wasn't awkward, it was almost reverent. You could feel it in the way people sat a little straighter, the way even the man in 2C, who hadn't said a word before, kept sneaking glances like he was seeing something he'd never recognized as power before. Further back, a kid nudged his mom. "That guy's a boss, right?" "The boss," she whispered back. By landing, everyone knew who he was. Search bars filled with Dominion Airlines CEO, black executive. By the time the wheels hit the runway, nobody rushed to deplane. They waited. They watched as Elias stood, straightened his jacket, lifted his folder. Some nodded, some just stared, a few whispered, "Thank you, sir," like it meant something more. And the story took off. Even after the plane stopped posts on Reddit, blurry photos, the story of the CEO who sat still when he was told to move. It didn't end there. Inside Dominion, the response was swift crew on leave, company-wide memo, words like mirror and systemic bias in the air. Elias never demanded anyone be punished, but he did say one thing. "If your people are trained to see me as the exception, maybe the training is the problem." And that's how change starts, not by yelling, but by refusing to move, insisting the seat you paid for means something, even if nobody else thinks it does. Later that night, after the boardroom emptied, Elias sat alone, city lights below, reading messages, thanks from strangers, confessions from colleagues, defensiveness from those who'd been removed. He replied to none of them. Some lessons, he knew, you learn in the quiet. Respect, he wrote once, isn't given because it's easy. It's earned by the choices you make when nobody's watching. So what's the real takeaway? Power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the courage to stay put, to claim your space with dignity, even when the world tries to tell you to move. Maybe next time you're asked to make room, you'll remember Elias Moore, how he didn't yell, didn't threaten, just stayed. And that was enough to change the whole flight. Yeah, sometimes the loudest thing in the room is the one who never moved. If this story made you feel something, anger, hope, recognition, didn't just let it fade. Share your thoughts below. Tell me, where do you draw the line between polite request and erasure? What does dignity look like to you? Let's talk about it, because these stories are stories. They echo louder together than any one person standing alone.